5 sa kagahon. Rondahanay Saga upod kay Ronda Butch Gaspar Jr. diri sa RPN. DYKB Radyo Ronda Bacolod. Serbisyo garantisado.
Ini ang inyo alagad sa kahanginan na Ronda Bong Bigalubos ang Rondahanay sa Udto. Nagadulong sa inyo sa mga nanuway-tuway nga mga isyos tagsa ka alas 11 tubtob alas 12. Magalin Lunes tubtob Sabado nga adlaw. Rondahanay sa Udto. Dire lamang sa RPN DYKB 1404 kHz ang Radyo Ronda sang Bacolod. Marka RPN, serbisyo garantisado.
Bantayi, pamati ang programa Tagna. Tagna ang programa sa radyo nga ginahulat sang kadaman. Minsahi sa kahanginan para sa panimalay, palaabuton kag kayuhan sang tanan. Tagna, alas 12 ang takna sang udto, tubtob alas 2 sang hapon kada Domingo. Tagna, upod kay Joyce Tortosa Hipigon diri lamang sa DYKB Radio Ronda 1404 sa lisuan sang inyo sininga radio dial sa AM band. Marka RPN, serbisyo garantisado.
Bantayi kag pamati sugod Enero 16 tuig 2022 Domingo nga adlaw las 11 tugtob las 12 sa udto ang Knowledge Hour. Isa ka oras nga programa sa radyo nga puno sang informations, educational, mga tips kag features para makatuon ka may papremyo pa. Knowledge Hour. Ubod kay Ronda Reyna Hapitana Salinas. Knowledge Hour.
Ano ang mga isyu sa syudad sa Bacolod nga dapat hibaluon? Ano ang pagbag-o nga ginasinggitan sa mga Bacolodnon? Kag nga may pagbag-o nga handom nga ginapalapnag sa kadamuan. Ari na ang Bacolod on the Spot. Bacolod on the Spot. Duha ka oras nga programa diri sa DYKB alas 7 tubtob alas 9 sang aga sa kada Domingo. Sumugod sini nga bulan sang Pebrero.
Beyond the headlines, I'm Mai Rodriguez sitting in for Pia Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, Bongbong Marcos claiming victory in the 2022 presidential race as the partial and unofficial counts show he is the apparent winner. Welcome news for consumers. Power distributor Meralco says you can expect lower electricity bills this month. And will the UP Fighting Maroons make history and win their first championship after more than 3 decades? Or will the Ateneo Blue Eagles keep its campaign for a 4-peat overall win? New numbers from the Comelec Transparency server. No major changes from the ranking. Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is still poised to win the presidency. As of 4:32 p.m., Marcos has 31,088,020 votes. Leni Robredo with 14,814,221. That's more than double the number of votes, or Bongbong Marcos's votes is more than double of Vice President Leni Robredo. Manny Pacquiao in third place with 3,629,491 votes, followed by Isko Moreno and Ping Lacson. On to the vice presidential race, Sara Duterte keeps her wide lead over Kiko Pangilinan. Duterte has 31,543,514 votes. Kiko Pangilinan with 9,227,196, followed by Tito Soto, Doc Willie Ong, and Lito Atienza at number 5. The COMELEC's accredited citizens arm, Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting, or PPCRV, is leading a parallel and unofficial vote count. Let's get updates from Paige Javier. She joins us from the PPCRV Command Center in UST. Paige, how are things over there?
The PPCRV aims to begin tomorrow the matching of the physical election returns with the electronically transmitted ones. They originally intended this to be started today, but they wanted to wait a bit longer so that more election returns can come in. As of 2:35 p.m., the PPCRV has received nearly 19,000 election returns, mostly coming from the Luzon and the National Capital Region or Metro Manila.
Nag-iintay pa tayo ng isang araw para po mas dumami ang ating ERs, hindi lang po sa NCR, pero sa mas madaming lugar galing sa Luzon. Susunod din po, bukas siguro magdadatingan ang iba sa Visayas. Perhaps starting tomorrow, we're going to release yung percentage match, no? Like we did in 2019.
The PPCRV reported a 99.995% match rate in the 2019 elections. Villanueva says they cannot promise to receive all of the nearly 106,000 returns by this week, since other precincts are located in far-flung areas. But she says they will continue encoding and accepting these returns even after May 20th. Villanueva reiterates there are no discrepancies noted so far and that they're looking into the speculations we're seeing on social media. Mai?
Paige, you mentioned the reports and posts spreading on social media. What does the PPCRV have to say about these issues?
Well, Mai, they addressed a lot of them in the press conference earlier this afternoon, and the poll watchdog appeals to the public to be more cautious in spreading these posts, especially if they're unverified.
Nakakalungkot na itong election cycle na to, padami po ang sapalaran ng misinformation on all sides. And I really want to caution the public. Panahon po na maghinahon at intayin ang mga trabaho ng COMELEC, ng mga iba-ibang mga citizens' arms.
The PPCRV also denied the alleged tear gas incident, which some people say happened here yesterday. And they also addressed the shortage of volunteers. In fact, they said that they are already filled with volunteers up to May 15. However, for those who still want to volunteer beyond that date, which is May 16 to May 20, they said that slots are open and that they're accepting sign-ups for those who want to help out. We also saw a lot of food donations coming in earlier this afternoon when we arrived here at the UST PPCRV Command Center. They're grateful for all of these donations, but they also urge the people to donate only to their official channels to avoid those who want to put the PPCRV's name in a bad light. Mai?
Thank you, Paige. Javier there reporting. With his huge lead over other contenders in the partial and unofficial COMELEC tally, presidential candidate Bongbong Marcos now claims victory in the race to Malacanang. Our correspondent Rex Remito is joining us from his campaign headquarters in Mandaluyong. Rex, what's next for Bongbong Marcos after his declaration of victory?
His spokesperson, Attorney Vic Rodriguez, says they're finalizing the members of the transition team and his cabinet. Rodriguez also says Marcos has names in mind but declined to reveal them for now. They will meet today and tomorrow to talk about it. He will also have another address to the nation soon. Also, the Marcos camp has officially declared a victory in the presidential race. Marcos's chief of staff cited the 98% of votes counted based on partial and unofficial count, and that his lead of 16 million votes is already unassailable. Rodriguez also says Marcos will be the president for all Filipinos, even those who did not vote for him. The lawyer also says Bongbong is looking forward to work not only locally but with international partners as well.
The Filipino people have spoken decisively, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. will be the 17th President of the Philippines. This is a victory for all Filipinos and for democracy. He says, "Judge me not by my ancestors, but by my actions."
Rodriguez, however, clarified Marcos has not declared victory himself yet. He says it's the nature of his boss not to assume anything until he's there. Marcos, meanwhile, also visited the tomb of his father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. at Dalibingan ng mga bayani. In a photo release, his camp says Bongbong is grateful to his father who have been his inspiration in life. His camp adds, his father also taught him the value and meaning of true leadership. The Duterte administration and the Supreme Court allowed the burial of his father in 2016. Critics and surviving martial law victims, meanwhile, are against the ruling. Attorney Rodriguez also said BBM will soon face members of the media. He has yet to say where and when that press conference of Marcos will be. Marcos' chief of staff was also asked if vloggers will be accredited by their administration. He says they will consider that possibility. Marcos showed up here a while ago to greet his supporters before he went inside his campaign headquarters. Back to you, Mai.
Rex, many are wondering who will compose this economic team, who will get us out of this slump. What are the names that have been floated and who is standing out?
Well, Rodriguez declined to name any of his possible cabinet members. He said that they haven't thought about things beyond the May 9 elections, but they're saying, or Marcos rather, said in his past interviews that they will get the most competent cabinet members as possible and those whom he had working experience with. Mai.
Thank you, Rex Demetrio there reporting. Senator Manny Pacquiao is the latest among presidential candidates who have accepted defeat. In a 2-minute video message, the senator said it's time to give unity a chance to move the country forward.
The people have spoken. Tapos na ang halalan kaya't bigyan naman natin ng pagkakataon ang pagkakaisa para sa kapayapaan at kaunlaran ng ating bansa. Bilang isang boxer at atleta, marunong akong tumanggap ng pagkatalo. Sana lang kahit talo ako sa laban na ito, panalo pa rin ang mga kapwa ko Pilipino. Sa ating susunod na Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, ako ay nananalangin para sa tagumpay ng iyong administrasyon na maraming mga mahihirap ang maiangat ang buhay at matulungan.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno, Senator Ping Lacson, Labor Leader Leody de Guzman, and Muslim businessman Faisal Mangondato earlier conceded defeat. Unlike Pacquiao and other candidates, Leni Robredo has yet to concede defeat. Robredo, Marcos's arch-rival, is second in the partial unofficial presidential count. The vice president has appealed to her supporters to accept whatever the results may be. But for now, she is asking them not to lose hope, as this is only the beginning of the, quote, fight for good governance. Robredo will hold a pasasalamat for all supporters with running mate Kiko Pangilinan at the Liwasang Aurora, Quezon City Circle on Friday. Straight ahead, more controversies hounding the 2022 polls, with the COMELEC investigating at least 2 election-related incidents. While consumers will see lower power rates, with Meralco set to reduce charges this month. This is Newsnight on CNN Philippines.
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines, a first on radio. To bring you the latest news you can use, news you can trust. Listen to Newsnight, weekdays 6 p.m.
I'll go above and beyond the headlines.
Followed by Med Talk Health Talk.
We'll talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during the pandemic.
Politics as usual.
Our guests for tonight, two political science professors.
Up close and more. Catch CNN Philippines in all RPN AM radio stations. Weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. CNN Philippines Hour.
DYKB Radio Ronda.
Istorya may K, may kapuslanan, may kamatuoran, kag may jutay nga kalingawan. Istorya may K.
Welcome back. Let's check on the partial and unofficial vote count again. As of 4:32 p.m., Bongbong Marcos has kept his wide lead with 31,088,000 votes. Leni Robredo, 14,814,221 votes. Manny Pacquiao with 3,629,491, followed by Isko Moreno and Ping Lacson. Moving on to the vice presidential race, Sara Duterte keeping her lead, also 31,543,514. Kiko Pangilinan at number 2 with 9,227,196 votes, followed by Tito Soto, Doc Willie Ong, and Lito Atienza. Let's check who's leading in the Senate. Actor Robin Padilla has kept his number 1 spot with over 26 million votes, followed by Loren Legarda with over 23 million votes, or close to 24 million. Rafi Tulfo at number 3 with over 23 million votes. Win Gatchalian at number 4 with over 20 million votes. Cheese Escudero, number 5, with over 20 million votes. Mark Villar at number 6, with 19,198,425 votes. Followed by Alan Peter Cayetano, number 8 is Mig Zubiri. Tesdaman Joel Villanueva at number 9. And JV Ejercito at number 10 with over 15 million votes. Risa Ontiveros at number 11 with 15,226,186. Jinggoy Estrada at number 12 with 14,961,241. And Jojo Binay at number 13 with over 13 million votes, followed by Herbert Bautista at number 14 with 12,935,751 votes. All eyes are on poll watcher PPCRV as cheating allegations surface in the presidential race, where Marcos and Robredo are in the top 2. Chief anchor and correspondent Pia Ontiveros spoke to PPCRV chairperson Myla Villanueva and political consultant Edwin Lacerda on politics as usual last night. Let's listen to their insights.
I will shift towards the PPCRV count, and I'm sure you feel that, right?
Yes, we feel a lot of things, Pia. Of course, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of disinformation. So we're taking steps as the day goes on, and there are big interest in certain things. First of all, we, as usual, and is common, we ask the COMELEC for logs around the transmission and the other details about VCMs and SD cards. There's also a lot of questions around the speed of transmission or certain patterns that I was asked in the earlier news cycle. And I wanted to say that we asked experts from the math department of Ateneo and UST. They have not found any irregularity in the transmission patterns that people have seemed to talk about in social media this morning.
Patterns, variants, because exactly like you said, nasa social media, umiikot yung mga graphics na yon. So you're parang telling people na kalma lang, no? We haven't found all these math experts, and that's important. We have these subject matter experts who are on it and have not found anything.
As of the moment, yes. And let's also say that they are PPCRV volunteers, but they're also from universities that I have invited.
You were here when all the numbers were starting to come in. And it's been 24 hours. There's still some, medyo mataas ang emotions, no, ng mga Lenny supporters, for example, no. How would you address them now? Although you are not naman, hindi ka naman bahagi ng Lenny campaign ngayon.
I think there's this thing going around that there's a variance, there's a problem with the COMELEC, with the transparency server count, or by and large, pareho lang naman ang results figures ng tatlong servers na yun. So they're questioning that. So I think may believe sila na nadaya si Lenny, and therefore we should make sure that the count is the real count is tabulated. But
That's not what COMELEC is doing now?
That's COMELEC's count
COMELEC,
already.
yeah.
But so that's why.
And there is PPCRV's count.
There's
also.
PPCRV there. So PPCRV, we know it's non-partisan. So. And it's media gets exposed, gets all the figures. No? In fact, you're reporting ahead of the official count, which is basically the same numbers that they're going to report in. So fundamentally, I don't know what we're looking for actually. Except maybe perhaps for the number of VC machines that weren't working. The question at the end of the day will be, assuming that they're all correct, would those uncounted VCs that were not transmitted be sufficient enough to overturn the votes?
The Senate receives the first batch of certificates of canvass and election returns for the presidential and vice presidential elections. Ballot boxes from the city of Malabon arrived first last night, while those from Cambodia and Vietnam came in this morning. The Senate is expected to receive the bulk of ballot boxes on May 22nd. Senate President Tito Soto says Congress, sitting as the National Board of Canvassers, may begin canvassing on May 24th. As partial and official results of the senatorial race trickle in, the Commission on Elections is looking into some election-related incidents in Mindanao. For more on this, Paulo Barcelon is joining us live from the National Board of Canvassers venue in Pasay City. Paulo, let's begin with these election-related incidents. Tell us what happened.
Well, my two election incidents in Mindanao are now being thoroughly looked into by the poll body. The first is the ballot-tearing incident in Cotabato City, caught on video and posted on social media. COMELEC acting spokesperson Rex Laudianco says they are investigating whether or not the men in uniform seen in the video were among those deputized by the COMELEC as members of the Electoral Board after teachers initially assigned to 175 clustered precincts there backed out due to security reasons.
These reports are yet to be vetted. Parang ang nangyari po yata that they're tearing the unused ballots, but perhaps parang spoiled ballot po yata kasi parang yung first part lang po yung may shade, yung the succeeding parts po hindi na natin nakita.
The poll body is also probing another election-related incident in Tuburan, Lanao del Sur. Meanwhile, actor Robin Padilla leads the partial and official senatorial tally of the COMELEC. As of May 11, he is leading at 612,684 votes, followed by Rafi Tulfo, Loren Legarda, Mark Villar, Win Gatchalian, Cheese Escudero, Alan Cayetano, Joel Villanueva, Jinggoy Estrada, JV Ejercito, Mig Zubiri, and Jojo Binay. Harry Roque, Gibocho Doro, and Teddy Bagilat round up the 13th, 14th, and 15th spots respectively. Now, these votes that I mentioned might cover 7 areas in the Cordillera region, namely Baguio City, Abra, Ifugao, Benguet, Apayao, Kalinga, Mountain Province, as well as Malabon City. This official tally covers over 1.1 million votes cast for Senate seats. In the meantime, the COMELEC Unbanked, sitting as the National Board of Canvassers, has suspended its session until 7 o'clock this evening. 77 of 83 expected provincial certificates of canvass are in as of 6 p.m. Mike.
Paulo, do we have a list so far of the areas where the proclamation threshold has been lowered, especially in local races? And for the benefit of our viewers, What does this mean?
Well, the poll body explains that they allowed the request of the local board of canvassers to lower the threshold in proclaiming winners in some local races. Now, the COMELEC says untransmitted results will no longer affect, or this depends rather on the situation on the ground. If the untransmitted results no longer affect the results of the polls as was done in 2016 and 2019, then such a request may be filed. Now, among those areas, let me just mention quickly, Mandaluyong City, wherein the race for mayor, vice mayor, congressman, and councilors, the threshold there was lowered. Muntinlupa, the race for mayor, vice mayor, and congressman. Taguig, the congressional race for the 1st District, mayor, vice mayor, and councilors, as well as the mayoralty race in Montalban, Rizal, and the vice mayoralty race in Naik, Cavite. Now, it's important to note that the decision to lower the threshold to proclaim depends on the position. So, for example, one moves to declare to lower the threshold, let's say for mayor, it's only for the mayoral position, and it will not affect the threshold of other positions, Mike.
Paulo, when do we expect the proclamation of winning senators and party list groups? Is it likely to happen within this week?
Well, COMELEC Commissioner George Garcia says they are optimistic that they will be able to proclaim the 12 winning senators and the party lists by Sunday. Now, that's because, especially for the party list race, it entails computation of actual votes, and which will determine which among the party lists will get the 63 seats up for grabs. As for the senators, they're hoping, that by Sunday they're able to proclaim all 12 senators to avoid a situation wherein there's what they call a partial proclamation, meaning, for example, the first 5 or the first 6 followed by the other 6. So they're optimistic that with the pace of the current counting and the transmissions, they're able to make these proclamations by Sunday. Mike.
Paulo, we are getting word that the COMELEC has declared a failure of elections in some areas. Can you tell us more about this?
Well, yes, just moments before we went on the air, the COMELEC said that the towns of Tubaran, Butig, and Binidayan in Lanao del Sur declared a failure of elections. So these declarations were made by the COMELEC. And according to the resolution that was released to us minutes ago, they are saying now that the special elections in Barangay Ragayan in Butig and Barangay Pindolonan in Binidayan and the involved barais of Tubaran will be held on May 15 or on a date that the COMELEC unbank seems proper. This is because, this is due to different incidents. The one in Butig says the AFP failed to retrieve stolen official ballots while one policeman was stabbed while protecting the vote counting machines. The one in Binidayan says violence resulting to the damage of BCMs and official ballots. Meanwhile, in Tubaran, the reason for the failure of elections was violence, threats, and intimidation. Mike.
Thank you for that update. Paulo Barcelon reporting live from the National Board of Canvassers site in Pasay City. On to the gubernatorial elections. Who are the incumbent governors getting another term and who lost their seats? As Tristan Nodalo tells us, most of the winners in vote-rich provinces supported Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte.
Familiar names and incumbent officials secured another term in the just concluded national elections. In vote-rich province of Cebu, home to over 3 million voters, Governor Gwen Garcia wins the seat against former Tourism Secretary Ace Durano. Garcia won over 1 million votes, the highest recorded so far for a gubernatorial candidate. During her proclamation, Garcia says that apart from winning, she also felt relieved to have delivered the votes for the tandem of Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte.
It's a fulfillment of a commitment. I committed that I would do my very best to deliver Cebu to the unity because I believed in their message of unity.
Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla was also re-elected with over 1.3 million votes. Laguna Governor Ramil Hernandez was also proclaimed after winning his last term for the province. Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando also emerged victorious together with his running mate Alex Castro. In Negros Occidental, Bong Lacson won the province's top post with over 900,000 votes. The Mandanas-Leviste tandem also triumphed in the province of Batangas. Toto Defensor meantime leads in the province of Iloilo with over 800,000 votes. The Inares family remains in power in Rizal province with Nina Inares getting re-elected as governor. And in Pampanga, Delta Pineda and Lilia Pineda won the governor and vice governor post respectively. Rounding up the top 10 vote-rich provinces, Pangasinan elects a new governor with Congressman Ramon Guico defeating incumbent Amado Espino III. This is not the first time Guico defeated a member of the Espino clan in the province.
Imagine kung ilan yung nagtiwala sa iyo na nakita ka lang at nag-hope na sana may bagong administration ang Pangasinan. So hindi po pandaraya ito, gaya ng sinasabi nila. We have really nakuha po natin, na-capture natin ang tiwala ng Pangasinan.
In vote-rich Davao City, re-electionists Paulo and Baste Duterte, sons of President Rodrigo Duterte, were proclaimed first district representative and city mayor respectively. It is telling the majority of the winning governors in these vote-rich provinces back the tandem of Marcos Duterte. Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
Straight ahead on Newsnight, the Fighting Maroons and the Blue Eagles are facing off for the highly awaited Game 2 of UAAP Men's Basketball. Keep it here on CNN Philippines.
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines, a first on radio. To bring you the latest news you can use, news you can trust. Listen to Newsnight, weekdays 6 p.m.
And I'll go above and beyond the headlines.
Followed by Med Talk, Health Talk.
We'll talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during the pandemic.
Politics as usual.
Our guests for tonight, two political science professors.
Up close and more. Catch CNN Philippines in all RPN AM radio stations. Weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. CNN Philippines Hour.
DYKB Radio.
Welcome back. Consumers of power distributor Meralco will expect lower charges this month. Meralco is cutting power rates by 12 centavos per kilowatt hour this month. Households consuming around 200 kilowatt hours per month will be charged lower by 24 pesos. Meralco says the reduction is a result of the Energy Regulatory Commission's order to refund 7.8 billion pesos in excess collections. In sports, Team Philippines scores its first gold medal in the 31st Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam. Marie Francine Padios topped the women's semi-tunggal single category in Pencaksilat today. Malacanang congratulates Padios for, quote, bringing glory to the country. And moving on to the UAAP, UP and Ateneo face off again for the highly awaited Game 2 of the men's basketball finals at the Mall of Asia Arena. Currently, the Blue Eagles have an early lead this first quarter, 17-16. UP won the first game. So if they take this one, the school earns its first championship in 36 years. But an Ateneo win means Game 3 pushes through on Friday, giving the Blue Eagles a chance to claim a four-peat title in the league. But both teams have already scored triumphs this season through individual awards. Ateneo big man Angelo Kwame is named Most Valuable Player of Season 84. Kwame tallied 69.21 statistical points. Meanwhile, UP's Carl Tamayo earns Rookie of the Year. Tamayo is the first Fighting Maroon to win this since Juan Gomez de Llano in 2017. And that's it for tonight. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Mai Rodriguez, sitting in for Pia Ontiveros on Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This program is brought to you by
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines, a first on radio. To bring you the latest news you can use, news you can trust. Listen to Newsnight, weekdays 6 p.m.
I'll go above and beyond the headlines.
Followed by Med Talk Health Talk.
We'll talk about how to keep ourselves healthy during the pandemic.
Politics as usual.
Our guests for tonight, two political science professors.
Up close and more. Catch CNN Philippines in all RPN AM radio stations. Weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. CNN Philippines Hour.
Thank you for watching New Day here on CNN Philippines. A party list group aims to continue helping overseas workers as it vies for a seat in the next Congress. Joining us now in the program is Marissa Delmar. She's the first nominee of the OFW, or One Filipinos Worldwide Party List. Good morning, Marissa. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning, Ismay. Thank you so much, and welcome to the whole Philippines and to the whole world, CNN Philippines.
How is the campaign going so far? And also, I'd like to jump in and talk about your advocacies already. And you've been an OFW advocate for a long time now. What are the most urgent concerns of OFWs that you hope to address?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Mai. Being an OFW advocate for the past 22 years has given me the opportunity to really focus on the empowering our OFWs on how we can alleviate their lives and alleviate the poverty, because they are supposed to be the modern day heroes. For the last 40 years, I think they were the most neglected sector. And thank you so much with President Rodrigo Roa Duterte now that they have been now the focus and the center of attention of most of our bills that were passed recently and the laws that had been passed. One of those is this Department of Migrant Workers, the OFW Hospital to be launched very soon, this May 1, and of course the OFW Bank and the 10-year passport validity. Being an OFW advocate really makes my world, it makes a lot of difference. And I'm so happy because it's not working for me. It's my everyday life, and it's what makes me happy for giving service to our people and to our OFWs.
Ms. Marissa, what would be your priority legislation or a program if elected?
Yes, Ms. Mai, my priority legislation will be first, the monitoring and the 24/7 connectivity to our OFWs, because it has been the problem after having their departure from their host from the Philippines to their host country. We cannot hear from them, especially when problems arises. Their families cannot contact them. In so many cases, and most cases, they have been in trouble and they are sometimes victims of human trafficking that we would like to stop. This human trafficking is very important, and then monitoring is very important. That's one, Ms. Mai.
Ano pa po yung mga practices that you find exploitative to our OFWs that you hope to address?
Yes, human trafficking addresses, this is like, number one, it's because when you are trafficked in a foreign country, usually you became a part of the prostitution. Then there will be slavery, forced labor, death bondage, and organ trafficking. And it is earning $150 billion yearly. And traffic of men, women, and children, Filipinos, of 10 million a year. And this is the very reason why we had launched, with no less than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, the anti-trafficking OFW movement, that had 20 biggest organization of the land did the oath taking with him and the OFW leaders. And I would like to address also the problem of labor and coercion, especially in all those host countries. And to sum it up, it is the loneliness, the homesickness that we have to address. And we would like to visit them in their host countries to be able to make them feel that they are loved, they are protected. And we have to talk to the employers to make sure that they are taken care of, Ms. Mai.
Well, 12 days before Election Day, ano na po yung plans nyo in the final stretch of the campaign period?
Yes, in the final step, we would like to really focus on the last few steps, last few days on the social media to be able to reach more, especially to the far-flung places and provinces that we cannot really go. And of course, we are only in the Metro Manila right now because we have gone to different provinces already to be able to reach to our NCR, to the Calabarzon areas, to our members and the organizations that have been helping us from day one of our campaign. And I'm so happy to note, my modesty aside, we are gaining a lot of big support from big organizations, and they are really volunteering themselves to be able to be one with us, with our 49 OFW party list. And this is our first time to be in politics, though we have been in the service for the past 22 years.
Thank you so much for your time this morning, Marissa Del Mar from the OFW party list. Thank you for watching New Day here on CNN Philippines. Less than 2 weeks before Election Day, we continue our conversations with party lists vying for seats in Congress. This morning, we talked to a group seeking better benefits and services for senior citizens. Joining us now live via Zoom is Rolio Bong Ignacio. He's one of the nominees of United Senior Citizens Party List. Good morning, Sir Rolio. Thanks for joining us. At una sa lahat po, how is the campaign going so far?
Good morning, Mai.
Yes po, kumusta po yung kampanya?
Good morning, Mai. And good morning sa 11.5 million senior citizens.
Sir Rolio, what are the most urgent needs of our senior citizens today, especially still in the time of COVID-19?
Alam mo, May, kung kami po ay papalarin ng United Senior Citizen, isusulong po namin itong matagal na po nakabinbin sa Kongreso. Ito po tinatawag nating Universal Social Pension Plan. Para sa wakas ay ang 11.5 million senior citizens sa buong Pilipinas ay makatanggap na ng pension. Wala na pong discrimination. Mahirap, mayaman, nasa rural at nasa city senior citizen, lahat sila ay pwede nang tumanggap ng pension. Ito po ay matagalan nakabinbin sa Kongreso, kaya ito po ang isang pinakamahalagang programa ng United Senior Citizen, makipagtulungan sa ibang mga congressman at senator para sa wakas matanggap na ng ating mga senior citizen ng pension matagal na nilang inaantay.
Aside from pension po, ano pa po ang isusulong nyo sa Kongreso?
Isusulong din po namin sa Kongreso ito po ang pagbibigay ng ayuda or maintenance medicine sa ating mga seniors. Alam mo, kailangan na ng mga seniors ang magkameron ng maintenance medicine buwan-buwan sapagkat hirap na sila, lalo na nito nakameron ng pandemic. Hirap na sila na kailangan pa silang pumunta sa kanilang mga center sa city o sa capital o sa town para lamang makuha yung kanilang pipila sila na mahaba para lang makuha ang kanilang mga maintenance or preventive medicine.
So aside from pension, nasabi nyo rin po yung ayuda, ano pa po yung iba nyong priority legislation?
Ang isa pa sa mga priority namin ay yung amendment ng Centenarian Act. Kasi yung Centenarian Act nagsasabi na pagdating mo ng 100 years old, you will receive 100,000. Ay sabi ko nga magandang pakinggan yon pero parang mahirap abutin ng 100 years. Kaya binabalak namin isulong na pag ang senior citizen ay umabot ng 80, may tatanggapin na sila 85, 90, 95, and ultimately 100 years old.
Okay, Sir Bong, sabi niyo po, sabi po ng grupo niyo, our Constitution has enough provisions that can ensure the welfare of senior citizens, but we need to implement them properly. Ang kailangan po, implementation. So paano po ba? How can these policies be better implemented?
Kaya nga po gumagawa po tayo ng mga gusto natin magsulong ng batas para sa ganon ay ma-implement natin ito nang wala na pong masyadong diskresyon on the part of the agencies. Kasi sa ngayon po talagang katulad po nung pension plan for indigent, nagsasabi po doon na pag ikaw ay 60 years old na ba, tatanggap ka ng 500. Pero napakadami po ng requirements. Pag ikaw ay GSIS or SSS or a retiree or ikaw ay may anak sa abroad at ikaw ay ang bahay mo ay may simento, you are not entitled to get any pension.
Sir Bong, plans po, ano po yung mga plano in the final stretch of the campaign season?
Nagpapatuloy pa po kami na ipaabot sa ating mga seniors sapagkat sa itong mga nakaraang taon talagang hindi narinig ng seniors ang mga benepisyo para sa kanilang sa mga nakatatanda. Kaya pinag-iibayo po namin ang pag-reach out sa ating mga seniors para sa ganon. Mapilitan po silang bumoto this coming election. Kaya inihikayat namin ang mga seniors na pag sa May 9, dapat ay isama nyo ang inyong anak, manugang, apo, kapitbahay. Kumbinsin nyo silang bumoto para sa ganon. Makalaki na representasyon ng senior citizen.
Alright, maraming salamat po. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mr. Rolio Bong Ignacio from the United Senior Citizens Party List.
RPN Regional AM radio stations nationwide welcomes CNN Philippines. A first